Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Nation bids adieu to country's first Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. Mortal remains of General Rawat and his wife Madhulika consigned to flames with full military honours and 17-gun salute in national capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Indian story has clear message to the world that democracy has delivered and will continue to deliver. India airlifts 110 stranded Indian citizens and Afghan nationals from Hindu and Sikh community from Kabul, brings back holy scriptures including Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita. Prime Minister to inaugurate Saryu Nehar National Project at Balrampur in Uttar Pradesh tomorrow, benefiting about 29 lakh farmers. Production-linked incentive scheme approved for manufacturing advanced chemistry cell in the country to bring down prices of electric vehicles, government tells Rajya Sabha. Centre warns against decline in mask usage in view of Omicron variant of COVID-19. And over 131 crore 18 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the new corona variant is a cause for concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And other news in detail. The nation today bid farewell to the country's first Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat. General Rawat, along with his wife Madhulika, Brigadier LS Leader and 10 other military personnel lost their lives in a chopper crash in Tamil Nadu on Wednesday. The mortal remains of General Rawat were laid to final rest with full military honours and a 17-gun salute at Brar Square Crematorium in Delhi Cantonment this evening. His last rites were performed along with his wife Madhulika Rawat. Our correspondent reports their daughters Kritika and Tarini performed their last rites.
The funeral procession carrying the mortal remains of General Rawat and Madhulika Rawat began at 2 p.m. from his official residence, 3 Kamras Marg. As the mortal remains carried in a casket wrapped in a tricolor was moved to a gun carriage decorated with flowers, people showered petals and raised slogans in his phrase. Military personnel drawn from all the 3 services marched towards the streets as drummers played along in tribute to India's first Chief of Defence Staff. Thousands thronged the route taken by General Rawat's procession to pay last respects to the country's first Chief of Defence Staff, were raising slogans of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, General Rawat Amar Rahe and Uttarakhand Ka Hira. A total of 800 service personnel were in attendance for the military funeral of the CDS. With moist eyes, people from various walks of life bid tearful adieu to General Rawat at Brar Square Crematorium. Saubhagya, Air News, Delhi.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Union Minister Kiren Rijiju, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, the 3 service chiefs were among those who paid their last respects at the Brar Square Crematorium. Emmanuel Lenaire, Ambassador of France to India, and Alex Ellis, British High Commissioner to India, also paid their tributes at Brar Square Crematorium. Military commanders of Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal and Bangladesh were also present at Brar Square. Earlier, the mortal remains of General Rawat and his wife were kept at their official residence before cremation to allow people to pay respects. Earlier Union Home Minister Amit Shah, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur and several other leaders paid tribute to General Rawat at his residence. Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, BJP President J.P. Nadda, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, members of Parliament, Chief Ministers of several states, Army Chief General Manoj Naravane, Air Chief Marshal Vivek Chaudhary and Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar, several officers of tri-services and foreign dignitaries also paid tributes to the departed souls. Earlier in the morning, the nation bid farewell to Brigadier L.S. Lidder. The last rites of Brigadier L.S. Lidder were performed at Brar Square in Delhi cantonment. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh paid tribute to him at Brar Square in Delhi Cant. Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar, Army Chief General Manoj Naravane, Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar, Indian Air Force Chief Air Chief Marshal Vivek Chaudhary and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, among others, also paid tributes to Brigadier Lidder.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today stressed on the need to constantly improve democratic practices and systems and continue to enhance inclusion, transparency and human dignity. He said democracies can meet the aspirations of citizens and celebrate the democratic spirit of humanity. He said India stands ready to join fellow democracies in these noble endeavors. Mr. Modi was delivering an address at the Summit for Democracy hosted by US President Joe Biden this evening via video conferencing.
Centuries of colonial rule could not suppress the democratic spirit of the Indian people. It again found full expression with India's independence and led to an unparalleled story in democratic nation building over the last 75 years.
The Prime Minister highlighted that Indian story has one clear message to the world that democracy can deliver, has delivered and will continue to deliver. He stated that democracy is not just about, of, by or for the people, but also with the people and within the people.
The structural features like multi-party elections, independent judiciary and free media are important instruments of democracy. The basic strength of democracy is the spirit and ethos that lie within our citizens and our society.
The Prime Minister also said that today's Assembly provides a timely platform for furthering cooperation among democracies. He said India will be happy to share its expertise in holding free and fair elections and enhancing transparency in all areas of governance through innovative and digital solutions. President Ramnath Kovind said that India has saved many lives by providing COVID vaccines to the people of the country. He said COVID-19 pandemic has affected humanity and made a devastating impact on vulnerable population. The President was addressing a Human Rights Day function organized by the National Human Rights Commission in New Delhi today.
Humanity is grappling with the worst pandemic in the history. While the pandemic is not yet over and the virus seems to be one step ahead of humankind, the world has so far responded to it by placing our trust in science and in global partnership. Though the pandemic affects the humanity universally, it is also seen that it has disproportionately devastating impact on the vulnerable sections of society. In this context, India, despite the obvious challenges, has been able to save millions of lives by adopting a policy of free and universal availability of vaccine. With the biggest vaccination exercise in history, the government has also been able to provide protection against the virus to nearly 1 billion people. I congratulate doctors, scientists and all other corona warriors for their heroic efforts to uphold people's rights to life and right to health.
Highlighting the importance of National Human Rights Day, Mr. Kovind said equality is the soul of human right. He said our rights are shared responsibility.
The demand for merchant navy professionals has increased due to increasing commercial activities over the last few years. Over 8 lakh recruitment of Indian seafarers has been done in the last 4 years. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha today, Ports, Shipping and Waterways Minister Sarbananda Sonowal said India has enough seafarers and there is no shortage of Indian seafarers. The government today told the Rajya Sabha that a production-linked incentive scheme has been approved for manufacturing advanced chemistry cell ACC in the country to reduce the prices of battery cells. In a written answer today, Minister of State for Heavy Industries Krishan Pal Gurjar said the development of the cell will bring down the prices of electric vehicles. He said the GST on e-vehicles has been reduced from 12% to 5%. He said the demand incentive for electric two-wheelers has been increased from 10,000 rupees per kilowatt hour to 15,000 rupees per kilowatt hour.
The Parliament Standing Committee on Empowerment of Women has expressed concern over the underutilization of funds by the states and union territories in implementing the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme. Its chairperson, Dr. Hina Vijay Kumar Gavit, told reporters in the Parliament premises today that the committee has made 8 recommendations to improve the functioning of the centrally funded scheme. Dr. Gavit said there is a need for more efficient allocation of funds to the states based on their performance. She said 848 crore rupees has been earmarked for the scheme for the period between 2014 to 2019, but only over 622.48 crore rupees has been released, out of which just 25% has actually been spent. Earlier, the report of the committee was tabled in the Parliament yesterday. The special flight arrived at Delhi airport from Kabul in Afghanistan this afternoon carrying 110 stranded persons. The special CAM air flight was arranged by India under Operation Devi Shakti. The External Affairs Ministry said the flight brought 10 Indians and 94 Afghans, including members of the Afghan Hindu-Sikh minority community. 9 children, including 3 infants, are among the evacuees. 3 holy Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji from historical Gurudwaras in Afghanistan and ancient Hindu religious scriptures including Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita were also brought to India by the flight. Talking to media before the departure of the flight from Kabul, one of the evacuees thanked the Indian government for ensuring safe evacuation.
ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੁਸ਼ਕਿਸਮਤ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਲਗਭਗ 3 ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਬੁਲ ਤੋਂ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਲਈ ਉਡਾਨ ਭਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅੱਜ ਫਸੇ ਭਾਰਤੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਅਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਧਰਮ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਗਰਿਕਤਾ ਨੂੰ 에ਅਰਲਿਫਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਤੋਂ 3 ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਅਤੇ ਆਸਮਾਈ ਮੰਦਿਰ ਕਾਬੁਲ ਦੇ ਪੁਰਾਤਨ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਪੁਸਤਕਾਂ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਭਾਰਤ ਵਿਚਲੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਅਫਗਾਨ ਸਿੱਖ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਤੇ ਮੰਦਿਰ ਕਮੇਟੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ।
Indian One Forum has thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for ensuring safe and smooth passage for the passengers. Sikh delegation has also expressed happiness, saying that they are returning to their homes with the help of the Indian government.
In Jammu and Kashmir, terrorists fired upon a police party at Gulshan Chowk area in Bandipora this evening. According to police, 2 police personnel identified as Mohammad Sultan and Fayaz Ahmad got injured and attained martyrdom in the terrorist attack. Meanwhile, security forces have cordoned off the area and launched a massive manhunt to nab the assailants. Details are awaited. News just in, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has reached nearly 132 crore landmark milestone today. Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry has said more than 68 lakh vaccine doses have been administered till 7 p.m. today. Briefing media in Delhi this evening, Member Health in Niti Aayog Dr. V.K. Paul cautioned that mask usage is declining and it should be kept in mind that both vaccines and masks are important in view of the emergence of new COVID-19 variant. Dr. Paul said the World Health Organization is warning against the decline in mask usage and the global scene of Omicron is disturbing. Talking to reporters, Joint Secretary in the Health Ministry, Lava Agarwal, said overall 25 Omicron cases have been detected in the country so far and all detected cases have mild symptoms. He said less than 2 countries had reported Omicron cases till the 24th of November and now 59 countries have reported cases of Omicron. He said the country reported 8,503 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours.
एवरेज डेली केसेस देश में पिछले एक हफ्ते से करीब 8,427 की संख्या में रिपोर्ट हो रहे हैं और ओवरऑल केस पॉजिटिविटी पिछले एक हफ्ते की नोट करें तो 0.73% ओवरऑल केस पॉजिटिविटी देश में नोट की जा रही है। अगर पिछले 24 घंटे का डेटा देखें तो पाते हैं कि देश में अराउंड 8,503 टोटल केसेस नोट किए गए हैं और मुख्य इशू यह है कि हम देखें तो पिछले 14 दिनों से देश में 10,000 से भी कम संख्या में केस नोट किए जा रहे हैं और उसमें भी जो केसेस देश में आ रहे हैं वे लिमिटेड एरिया में पाए जा रहे हैं जिसमें मुख्यतः 52% से अधिक केसेस केरला स्टेट से नोट किए जा रहे हैं.
President Ramnath Kovind will review the passing out parade of the Indian Military Academy at Dehradun tomorrow morning. President Kovind reached Dehradun this evening. Governor Gurmeet Singh received the President on his arrival at the airport. The President will stay in Raj Bhavan in Dehradun tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Saryu Nahar National Project at Balrampur in Uttar Pradesh tomorrow. The project has been built with a total cost of more than 9,800 crore rupees, out of which more than 4,600 crore rupees was provisioned in the last 4 years. The project also involves interlinking of 5 rivers, Ghagra, Saryu, Rapti, Banaganga and Rohini, to ensure optimum usage of water resources of the region. It will provide assured water for irrigation of over 14 lakh hectares of land and benefit about 29 lakh farmers of over 6,200 villages. In a series of tweets, Prime Minister Modi said that Saryu Nahar National Project will solve irrigation-related problems in eastern Uttar Pradesh and help the farmers. He said it is shocking that work on the Saryu Nahar National Project began in 1978, but the project was never completed for decades. He stated that the project that was incomplete for 4 decades has been finished in 4 years. He said the swift work on the Saryu Nahar National Project is in line with his government's commitment to complete long-pending projects and also harness water resources for the benefit of farmers and to further ease of living.
Doordarshan DD is starting various programs in Bhojpuri from tomorrow. Bhojpuri is spoken in the region of eastern Uttar Pradesh and western Bihar. Apart from Bhojpuri dialect, local traditions, art and literature will also be promoted in the programs. People of these two regions are excited after their demands for programs in Bhojpuri language got fulfilled. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inaugurated a satellite centre at DD Gorakhpur station on the 3rd of this month. On the occasion, the Information and Broadcasting Minister said an hourly Bhojpuri language-based program will be telecast every day from DD Gorakhpur. The program will spread the culture and languages of these regions. Viewers will be able to watch the program through DTH services. The program will be telecast on a regular basis between 11 to 11:30 a.m. and 8 to 8:30 p.m. on DD Uttar Pradesh. The program will air Bhojpuri culture, folk songs and short dramas. It will also cover issues concerning women. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
Do you want to fly high, to reach out to the skies? Do you feel proud to wear the uniform? Then join the Indian Air Force.
Applications open from 1st December 2021. To apply, online login to careerindianairforce.cdac.in.
Now, here is a review of the proceedings in Parliament today. First from the Lok Sabha, the writer is Kumar Rakesh of PTI. In the Lok Sabha today, the discussion on climate change resumed today, in which the BJP members lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government for taking measures to protect the environment and bring India at the centre of international initiative to control global warming. In contrast, the opposition members alleged that the centre did a volte-face at the climate summit in Glasgow by setting a net zero target of 2070, questioning the rationale behind it. Actually, the Environment Secretary had ruled it out in the media, Trinamool member Saugata Roy said while continuing with the discussion. He asked what prompted the Prime Minister to commit to a net zero target in 2070. He asked if there is any credible research available to vindicate the target. N.K. Premachandran of the RSP charged the developed nations of diluting their climate commitments over the past 3 decades since the 1992 Rio summit, adding the common but differentiated responsibility concept has become an insignificant part of the Glasgow Declaration. He lamented that even the concept of developed and developing countries had been changed at the COP26 summit at Glasgow and criticized the rich countries of hiding behind poor nations in tackling the challenges posed by climate change. BJP's Ramesh Vidhuri lauded the Prime Minister's initiative to popularize the use of energy-efficient LED bulbs as an alternative to traditional lighting solutions and offer LPG subsidies, which he claimed have reduced the dependence on firewood for cooking. Mr. Vidhuri targeted the Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital, alleging that it has indulged in gimmicks in the name of fighting air pollution and has taken no substantive measures. National Conference's Hasnain Masoodi said there is a need to shift towards sustainable development so that nature is protected. It is the time to act now to protect climate, said the Congress member Benny Bannon. BJP's Jagdambika Pal said people should not indulge in blame game and all states, irrespective of their political affiliation, should work together on the issue of climate change and environment protection. He said from a developing country like India, the commitment of zero emission by 2070 at the recent COP26 is an important announcement, he said. BJP's Tapir Gao suggested that there is need to bring in environment awareness from the school level. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Bhupendra Yadav said in his intervention during the debate that the central government is working towards making use of stubble in making biofuels and manure in an exercise aimed at reducing incidents of its burning, which is seen to be a source of air pollution in the region, including in the national capital. He made the remarks after Shiromani Akali Dal member Harsimrat Kaur Badal alleged that Punjab farmers were being defamed for stubble burning and asked the central government to provide them with resources to deal with it. In response, the minister said the NTPC had recently procured 3,000 tons of stubble and the government will review its results to see how it can be used for biofuels. Ms. Badal cited reports including a submission by the central government to claim that stubble burning plays a minimum role in air pollution and asked the ministry to bring out a white paper on the issue. Cases have been lodged against farmers and fines imposed on them for stubble burning, the Bathinda MP said, and targeted the Delhi government for defaming them. In reply, Bhupendra Yadav said stubble burning has now been decriminalized and also listed the measures taken to put to use stubble for different purposes so that farmers don't burn them. The central government has allocated 700 crore rupees for machinery to get rid of stubble, and Uttar Pradesh used 6 lakh acres of land while Punjab and Haryana used 1 lakh acre each for using it as manure, he said. Ms. Badal said Punjab, being an agricultural state, has been hit hard by climate change and also contamination of its groundwater and soil over the years as it worked to make Green Revolution a success and contributed the most for the country's needs of rice and wheat. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar told Lok Sabha today that the US sanctions on Iran have not affected India's Chabahar port project. Replying to a question from the BSP member Ritesh Pandey, the minister clarified that the US sanctions are not relevant to India's Chabahar port project in Iran. Mr. Pandey claimed that the Iranian government is publicly saying that the Chabahar port project has been miserably delayed due to the sanctions. He also claimed that he is aware that China is trying to work on the project by taking advantage of the sanctions as it did with the railing and asked the government if it is working on a solution. The minister replied that his opinion is completely inaccurate, clarifying that the Chabahar agreement was signed in 2016 and India took possession of the terminal in 2018. Dr. Jaishankar said India has already supplied 6 cranes and the terminal is fully functional. He reiterated that the US sanctions are not relevant to this project at all. After the private members' business in the evening, the Lok Sabha was adjourned for the day.
And now a review of proceedings in Rajya Sabha. Writer is Sanjeev Chopra of PTI. Members of the upper house today participated in a discussion on a resolution moved by Congress member Ami Yagnik on controlling pollution in the country. Ms. Yagnik urged the government to set up a joint parliamentary committee to work with all stakeholders and to fix a timeline for it to present a comprehensive report on the current status of air, water and land pollution in the country. Moving the resolution post-lunch during private members' business, she asked the government to introduce stringent legal provisions to mitigate environmental pollution and promote sustainable development. She also called for policies to discourage the use of chemical pesticides and suggest substitutes for chemical pesticides and biocides to our farmers. Participating in the discussion, Shiv Pratap Shukla of BJP highlighted several steps taken by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government to combat pollution, including the launch of the Swachh Bharat mission and providing LPG connections to the poor. Amar Patnaik of BJD urged that all stakeholders must be brought together to address the issue of climate change, of which pollution is a part. V. Vijay Sai Reddy of YSRCP raised concerns over massive consumption of fossil fuels that is contributing to poor air quality and global warming. Vishambar Prasad Nishad of SP said a joint parliamentary committee should look into the matter. RJD member Manoj Kumar Jha noted that every year during November-December period, farmers are blamed for pollution due to stubble burning, leaving alone the big industries which pollute more. Sanjay Singh of the AAP noted that both central and state governments need to work together to fight air pollution. Mahesh Poddar of the BJP noted that pollution is a byproduct of development, but the key would be in taking measures to effectively control it. He said efforts should be made to generate more electricity from renewable sources. Fawzia Khan of the INC said the government should first accept that there is an issue of pollution and then try to find out solutions. Ajay Pratap Singh of BJP said schemes such as Ujjwala has helped to reduce pollution and has also increased the country's forest cover. Hardwar Dubey of BJP raised the issue of pollution in rivers such as Yamuna and Hindon and flowing into the NCR region while talking about the recently concluded Glasgow Climate Change Conference. He said India has tried to give a new direction in controlling pollution by reducing the use of fossil fuels. He said India aims to increase non-fossil fuel-based electricity from 155 gigawatts at present to 500 gigawatts by 2030. Earlier during 0 hour, Sanjay Singh of AAP demanded a fast-track court and the strictest action within 6 months against those involved in the alleged sexual abuse of 17 girls in Muzaffarnagar, Uttar Pradesh. Expressing shock over the incident, he demanded stringent punishment against the culprits to set an example. The issue of the share of the manufacturing sector in the GDP was also discussed in the House. Congress MP Kumar Ketkar remarked that the BJP manifesto had talked about raising the share of the manufacturing sector to 25% of the GDP. However, he said according to the latest data, the sector's contribution was only 13%. In a 0 hour mention, P. Wilson of the DMK raised the issue of rising cotton and yarn prices, which have affected the textile industry in the country, including Tamil Nadu. He said the rising prices of cotton and yarn and their hoarding had led to the closure of several textile mills across Tamil Nadu. Manufacturers are faced with the challenge of abnormal price rise of cotton and yarn and urged the government to prevent hoarding. After the private member's business in the evening, the House was adjourned for the day.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to the distinguished architect Balkrishna Doshi and congratulated him on being awarded the Royal Gold Medal 2022. Mr. Modi said Balkrishna Doshi's contributions to the world of architecture are monumental. The Prime Minister said that his works are globally admired for their creativity, uniqueness and diverse nature. Royal Gold Medal is one of the highest honours for architecture. Now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have shallow fog. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. Chennai is expected to witness generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. Jammu and Srinagar will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Leh, Gilgit is likely to witness mainly clear sky. Muzaffarabad will have sunny sky. Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, Thiruvananthapuram and Puducherry will have cloudy sky with light rain. In the northeast, Guwahati and Aizawl will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Imphal will have dense fog. Shillong will witness shallow fog. Kohima and Itanagar will have mainly clear sky. Gangtok will have partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Nation bids adieu to country's first Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. Mortal remains of General Rawat and his wife Madhulika consigned to flames with full military honours. And 17-gun salute in national capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Indian story has clear message to the world that democracy has delivered and will continue to deliver. India airlifts 110 stranded Indian citizens and Afghan nationals from Hindu and Sikh community from Kabul, brings back holy scriptures including Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita. Prime Minister to inaugurate Saryu Nehar National Project at Balrampur in Uttar Pradesh tomorrow, benefiting about 29 lakh farmers. Production-linked incentive scheme approved for manufacturing advanced chemistry cell in the country to bring down prices of electric vehicles, government tells Rajya Sabha. Centre warns against decline in mask usage in view of Omicron variant of COVID-19. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage reaches nearly 132 crore landmark. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.
The Navy gives me adventure in every venture.
The Navy gives me the chance to discover capabilities I never knew I had.
The Navy gives me a package complete with the country's respect and recognition.
The Navy gives you more. Indian Navy, an ocean of opportunities. www.joinindiannavy.gov.in